Today, I will be showing you how I practice my anatomy, some techniques that I've learned throughout the journey, and some of the things that you have to consider. So, let's get started. Hey everyone, Star Knight here. For today's video, we're gonna be doing a couple of practices and an illustration. So whenever I practice anatomy and poses, first thing I do is I grab a reference. I wanted to use a simple reference for the first one since this is gonna be our warm-up. So I chose this reference. So here I'm breaking the different parts of the anatomy into shapes. This is really important in order for you to understand and capture an accurate image because anatomy can be very overwhelming, especially if you don't understand how different parts connect. So here, I'm just following the overall flow of the pose. By focusing on the shapes and the sizes of the parts you break down, you can make sure that your anatomy will maintain proper proportions. This is a really good practice, especially if you're drawing from imagination or memory. It will train your eyes to avoid common errors and create more believable figures. So here, after I tried capturing the overall pose, I'm now starting to draw it with just my eyes. As you can see here, I'm still using the guidelines that I used for my tracing earlier. This will help me a lot, especially if I need to know the angles and if I want to exaggerate a particular spot. This is why it's really important we break each part of the body into different shapes. Breaking shapes is a valuable learning tool, especially for beginners. By starting with simple shapes, you can practice and develop your observation and drawing skills. And as time goes by, your eyes will be trained and your muscle memory will be able to do complex poses. When we are doing the hair for this part, we are still capturing the shape. So shapes are really important. Now moving on to another practice. So as you all notice, we are using a lot of hot guys. And it's up to you what you want to use for your models. We have our own preferences. But anyways, for our next practice, I will be using this reference. You know, the longer you practice drawing anatomy, you will be able to train your eye coordination. Regular practice of drawing anatomy helps you develop a deep understanding of the structure and the proportions of human body. It will help you understand the bones, muscles, and other anatomical features. You will be able to present them in your artwork. So here, we're just capturing the shapes that we observed from the reference. And while practicing anatomy can help with your observation skills, this will also help you enhance your technical skills. Drawing anatomy involves mastering different types of technical skills. This involves line work, shading, and rendering. And have you ever experienced like after 5 minutes you can't even draw a decent circle? This is because it's not just about the observation skills but also your muscle memory. By drawing every day, you can also train your muscles to have a more coordinated control over your tools such as pencils, brushes, and styluses. With your muscle memory being more coordinated, you will be able to draw and execute your illustration more efficiently. As you practice specific figures and movements repeatedly, they become more ingrained in your muscle memory. This will allow you to perform them without conscious thought or excessive effort, which can give you a more smoother and more fluid drawing motions. And this will help you to focus more on the creativity and expression rather than the mechanics of drawing. After all, drawing is all about learning and enjoying at the same time. So it's really important that you learn something from your studies while at the same time having fun. It's all about the balance between those two. So anyways, here we're just simplifying the shadows. And yeah, here's our practice for today. Now that I've shared to you some techniques and ways on how I practice my anatomy, let's move on to drawing an illustration. So here I already did the sketch for the illustration. Now we're adding the shadows. So as you can see here, while I'm doing the shadows, I'm adding it by shapes. Just like what I talked about earlier, simplifying the details will help you more understand the details of your reference. So even the clothing, I'm doing it by shapes. So I will be talking more about the drawing now. The concept for this piece is a hot gangster like vampire is walking around the city. And I decided I want him to show some abs. It's just a personal preference. After doing the overall shape of the clothing, we're starting to move on with the hair. So here I decided his hair would be slick back. So for this part, it's really important I nail the shape, or else his hair is gonna look weird on him, and it's not gonna look hot and cute. Now we're starting to add the shadows for the clothing. And once again, as you can see here, I'm still using shapes to map out the shadows. This helps me better understand the bigger picture, rather than focusing on every single details. I feel like I'm gonna go crazy if I meticulously do each detail perfectly. So now I'm just adding a more darker shadow. Shadows will help emphasize the shapes you want to show in your piece. It's all about the shadows and the lighting. So that's why, as you can see here, I'm just following the flow of my first layer of shadows. After the shadow of the clothing, we're now starting to figure out the hair. Since the style of the hair I chose would be slicked back, most of the strokes of the shadow would be going upwards. So as you can see here, I'm just following the flow. Now we're starting to add more details to the eyes. I'm just refining it since it's all over the place. Then we're also gonna add some accessories on him. So here I decided to add a necklace and earrings, and also a tattoo on his pectoral major. I chose roses because I feel like it will make the illustration look hotter, since as you all know, roses are used for romantic stuff. And here I'm using the airbrush tool to add the soft shadows. Then I added another layer to set it to multiply, and I started filling the whole body. For me, this part is very satisfying because I will be able to see the shadows and the lightings that I did, and I feel like the whole thing is coming together. So here I added a guideline on his outfit since I wanted to add something that will pop up here, something very shiny that will definitely pop in the darkness. Then we started filling the background. I envisioned this piece to be some sort of like a city nightlife. So here I am adjusting the color of his skin using color balance. I want to turn his skin to a more cooler tone so it will fit the overall composition of the illustration. Here, I'm starting to add the details on the clothing. I felt like it's kind of boring, so I decided to add something that would spark this up. So I'm gonna be adding some crystals here. So later, when we put the lighting, it's gonna look so pretty with the reflection of the light. But later on, I will be changing the color blue to red. Although blue looks good on him, I felt like red would pop up way better. So here, after a few adjustments, we're now starting to work on with the background. I'm just adding some soft lighting and details to the background. After putting some details in the background, I decided to add a silhouette of a car to emphasize that this is a city life. Now we're done with most of the parts, I'm now starting to add the lighting. And I felt like something was missing, so I added some few details in the face. Since this is the face expression, there will be some muscles grouping together. Now we're here in one of my favorite parts, which is adding the hard lighting. I really love this part because I can make the whole illustration pop, and it just makes the whole piece a lot better. So as you can see here, since the light is coming from the right side, we are putting the lighting in very specific spots, particularly in the right side of each form. This is so we can show the shape, and so we can show the details of clothing and the skin. Overall, this piece was a lot of fun to make. I learned so many things, and it's been a while since I've drawn abs and hot characters, and I hope you learned something new from this video, especially the practice we did earlier. I hope it was able to help you in some way. So anyways, here's the final result of our piece for today. Ladies and gentlemen, are you ready? Here's a quick speed paint of our piece for today. I would like to thank you so much for watching until the end of the video. For more contents like this, don't forget to like and subscribe. And feel free to comment down below what your thoughts and what do you want to see next. See you all in the next one. Bye!